Welcome everyone, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. I hope you guys are having a beautiful day. It's really sunny out today. It's the 19th, so it's the day of the sun, and it's Sunday, Sunday. So we have a lot of beautiful energy coming in today. It is the 19th of January, but it's also adding up to the 24, which is a 6 of love, family, and community. The 24 is the Queen of Wands, so that very vibrant, creative, very physically and fun-loving energy coming up with the sun, exposing all. The Queen of Wands being very active and passionate, creative, and exposing all. There's some very special messages here just from the code line. I was getting 3 different storylines, and I just asked for a message from my guides, and they were just referring me back to the 3 storylines that I got from the coding today, as well as Mary Magdalene. So I'm going to get going because there's a lot to cover here. I'll give you a little bit of this as well. Take a deep breath, you guys. Okay, so we're going to get going here. The read today. I cut the SIRIAN Starseed deck at 8:20 to 21. I also woke up at 7:20, so that 20, the Judgment card, is important here. And the read was finished at 8:38, which is the Strength card, and the Queen of Cups, which is the final clarifying card that I used today, the Queen of Cups upright. So that's very important, and that's very much Mary Magdalene energy as well. The major arcana for this read are Transition and Strength, which is the Death card and the Strength card. Before the read, we also have Reason, Alchemy, and Guidance, which are the Emperor, Temperance, and the Hierophant. And after the read, the Tower also came up. We have 3 cups, 1 pentacle, 3 wands, and 1 sword. So 3131 is very much about that 5 of wands energy of expansion, conflict, games, the quest, just depending on your perspective, how it fits into your theme today. The court cards here, we have the Page of Cups, which is very important during this read, at the beginning and the end of the read. It's all, the Page of Cups is a theme. It started yesterday, actually, too, with my daughter when I told you about the scamming stuff coming up yesterday. But it's about the innocence of the children coming up and the innocence of the vulnerable. So really, purity and innocence of the Page of Cups. So we have the Page of Cups. We also have the 9 of Cups, which is not a court card, but it's very much the energy of the sovereign masculine. And then after the read, the Page of Wands and the King of Swords also came up. As far as the numbers in the code line, it was all about perseverance, happy ending, and parenting today. We have, as far as numbers, we had double 3s and double 6s most important today, but we also double 4s and double 9s as well. The code line added up to 314, which is pi, 314, which is also my daughter's birthday. So again, that Page of Cups is very important. She's Pisces, so that fits perfectly into the story today. The 314 came from the 4 and 310, 4 being the Emperor, and then the 310 is 31 with 0. 31 again is that 5 of Wands energy of the fight, the game, the expansion, the competition, the quest. The other numbers that came up were, besides, well, 33 is the Christ vibration, which is also the 7 of Wands. 66 is the Queen of Pentacles. 44 came up also, which is the 4 of Cups, the grounding and integrating and mastering love. We have the 99, which is very much of compassion and endings and universal selflessness, and the 18 of the Moon as well. And then 89 also came up. 34, or 8, 9, 10, begin again. So beginning again came up in this read as well. 34 is the 8 of Wands, back and forth communication, the arrows of love, the sharing of the energy. 6, which is the Lovers, and 46, which is the 6 of Cups. And both the Lovers and the 6 of Cups were upright today. 68 is the Page of Pentacles, which was also significant in the read today. And of course, the Ace of Pentacles, 69 in the read, okay? So regarding perseverance, happy ending, and parenting, the code line, so here we go with the storyline here. The challenge card today is the 10 of Orbs, or the 10 of Swords. And the 10 of Swords is reversed in the read today, which is the end of the pain, the worst is over, that the bliss sets in as the swords fall out of your back, right? So the first, when I was reading the code line, I was getting the false, or the foe, the enemy, taking the high road, and also total hip replacement was coming up today as well. And then the 4, or the emperor, for toggling up, to the 3, or the empress, to end the pain and betrayal of the human condition, regarding perseverance, happy ending, and parenting, showing your children the way. So that seems to be the message here. So there were 3 examples that came up that I was guided to look up for you guys that came directly from the code line and from my downloads from them. So also the Father Emperor was coming up here. So Father, Emperor, and Pi comes up. Also temper tantrums, right? Emperor's reversed in the read today. And HRE, which is the Holy Roman Empire. So we have Father Emperor with Pi, the Holy Roman Emperor, or Empire, and then the ending of pain and betrayal, as well as back pain issues and treatments for the human condition regarding perseverance, happy ending, and parenting. So under HRE, besides the Holy Roman Empire, I did want to give you some other definitions because there'll be some other messages for you out there. We have HRE Wheels, a company. It's a Vietnam language. Harar, Zimbabwe. It's the abbreviation for that. I guess the airport code, something like that. Homes, real estate. So people might be dealing a lot in homes or real estate today. Human reliability, his or her royal eminence. So somebody wanting to be treated like royalty. Hurricane relief efforts. Human rights, education, as well as hormone replacement element and high-resolution electrocardiography. So right away, since the code line was 314, and that's Pi, which is also my daughter's birthday, and it's also something that's come up often in the journey for us, because Pi is the circle with the line through the middle, which is the centeredness between the masculine and the feminine human, embodiment of source. So 314, of course, meant a lot to me because it was Pi. It's also the year 314 comes up right away when I put 314 in, which is CCCX1V for the Roman numerals. The year of 314, the year of consulship of Rufius and Annianus, which kind of cracked me up because Rufius can be abbreviated as Rufy, and Annianus can be abbreviated as Anna's anus. Okay, so we have anus and roofies. What a wonderful combination there. The consulship of roofies and anus. The Roman Empire of the year 314, on October 8th was the Battle of, is it Cibele or Cibele? Constantine the Great defeats rival Licinius near a place that's now Croatia. It's Thrace, Thrace. And Licinius then ends up fleeing because Constantine the Great won. And of course I connect with the name Constantine because my father's name is Constantine, but that had nothing to do with Constantine the Great coming up here. When I looked up the year 314, that's all I put into the system. The first header was, I think it was the encyclopedia, it was Wikipedia. And I'm listing what came up under that year. So Constantine the Great in the Roman Empire, which the Roman Empire came up separate from this in my code line because we have HRE in the code line in addition to 314, but I didn't put the HRE in the headline. The Roman Empire came up anyway. So we have October 8th of this battle, and then we have, and that was in the modern location of Croatia, and then peace negotiations were initiated between the two Augusti, but that peace negotiation was unsuccessful at that time. On January 11th that year, Pope Militades, it's Militiades, reigns. That Pope ends, and then Pope Sylvester I, the 33rd Pope, comes into play on January 31st that year. So here we're 31 again, third time 31 already. So the 33rd Pope, and 33 is the Christ vibration, and so the Pope comes up here. And then the Synod of Ancyra, so this was something that came up under this Pope. Consulting a magician is declared a sin that you would receive 5 years of penance for, which is interesting because I don't know what the Italian laws are now, but when I was in Italy with my ex, who was from Italy, you couldn't get divorced until you were completely separated for 5 years. So if you came together even once, you wouldn't be allowed to divorce. So the divorce laws were very strict in Italy. So it was just interesting that the 5 years penance came up back here in the year of 314 of a punishment for consulting a magician. So that's like, a divorce, for trying to get divorced, you get 5 years penance. You have to be punished for 5 years. All right, so also born in that year were Libanius, the Greek rhetorician and sophist, or sophist, Li Qi, the emperor, Ba Dai State Cheng Han 338 was the year. I don't know if he was in power until 338, because this was all talking about the year 314. And then Zidun, or Zaidun, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, the Chinese Buddhist monk philosopher, 366. Then of course, Constantine comes up again. So Constantine the Great, his father was a Iranian origin, and his mother was Helena, a Greek. They also said, or a concubine. So he was born in what would now be referred to as Nice. And then the Greek Isles come up, because that's come up for me before as far as Constantine, because one of the Greek Isles is Kos, which is my dad's nickname. His father, Constantinius, became Caesar, which is basically the name for that leadership position. And then there ended up being an East and West, because who was in power at the time, and I can't say any of these names, I don't know how they're pronounced. Well, anyway, the emperor of that time, who was the Augustus, felt there was too much for one man, so he split it into East and West, where he was the Augustus, and then Galerius was Caesar, and on the west was Maximin and Constantinus, the father of Constantine the Great. So his father ended up dying of leukemia, and that's why they called him the Pale, because he was very pale from leukemia. And then Constantine would actually reunite the empire that was split before, moving away from old Rome, and then establishing the new capital, which is now Constantinople. And he had been taught by his father to defend the people, not only to defend the people, but also to create order in society. So this was very important as the message, because he's changing the way people are treated and taking pain away from the human suffering condition. Okay, and I was getting a lot of connection just now when I was talking about him. So again, in the code line also comes up about the father and 3 sons ending pain for humans. So there's 3 different storylines that basically are telling that tale. So the first one is about Constantine the Great. He was one of 3 sons of his father. He had 3 sons. He had Constantine II, Constantinus II, and then Constans, just without a number. So the brothers co-ruled, but Constantine II, of course, took over. He's the oldest. And then when he died, Constantinus took over along with Constans simultaneously. But Constantius II ended up reigning till 361, which was the longest reign of the 3 brothers. But Constantine II wanted to baby Constans, the younger brother. He wanted to protect him. So, of course, they probably had some rivalry there when the youngest brother didn't want to be protected that way anymore. But they ruled together, and even though they ended up killing off other males in the family, I guess it was a power thing at that time, these 3 brothers, didn't wage war against each other. They worked in conjunction with each other, which was different from before that, because there was always a lot of killing within families and that kind of thing. So again, it was from the influence of their father, who had been leading teaching them not only to protect the people, but to create order for the society. So they moved to Constantinople, and let's see here. Some of the people who were born that year were coming up too. Libanius was the Greek rhetoric and sophist. The sophist literally means I am wise. There were specific teachers that used philosophy and rhetoric, teaching music, athletics, and math. It just had to do with being virtuous. Also, Meteor Sophist came up as an example as an expert in celestial phenomena. So the father emperor, Constantin I, in the year 314, or Pi, of the Holy Roman Empire, and the end of pain and betrayal of humans. So this is coming up in the code line. This is exactly what it's saying, that the foe takes the high road for the emperor to toggle up, to become more feminine, using Pi, which is the balance of the masculine and feminine within the human embodiment of spirit, the Pi, the 314, or the Holy Roman Empire here, and the end of pain for humanity. So, and here is the foe regarding wars within families, but also, at this time, because they'd split the territory in half, there were 4 different leaders, 2 in each area. So now leaders had to get along. They couldn't just keep killing each other. They had to learn how to share the responsibilities, which was actually a good thing, even though Constantine brought it back to a single power afterward. He still then taught his 3 sons to work in unison, which then they did. An ordered society. So we have perseverance, happy ending, and parenting here, that he taught his sons well when Constantine II took over, and the Council of Arles in that year, 314, was 1 year after the Edict of Milan, which was when Christianity became legal. So now he's making a difference here. We have Constantine the First council was called by him, and this first council meeting, they decided that Easter was going to be the same day throughout the world, right? That it wasn't going to be different days depending on your city or culture. Also that races and gladiator fights were punished by excommunication. And then, of course, they were establishing other beliefs or religions as heresy. The Donatism, which is a Roman Africa Christian group. So, of course, this is when there was separation of religion, but at least the religion was becoming in power so that it would stop things like people killing each other, for entertainment. Okay, just like the gladiators and the races that would hurt people. So then that's the Constantine story. And it was interesting because Constantine had 3 sons, but my father's name is Constantine. He also has 3 sons. And then I also have another sister, so there's 2 of us. I was getting like the 3 sons and the daughters being the apple of their eye, because even my father he didn't suggest the same jobs for us as he did for my brothers. He still had that traditional role of the men, the men became the professionals, but the women were still lower in status. So it was very interesting because he had a European mentality. He was from Paris. So it's interesting how that was still at play even in this day and age. So then we have the Cathars came up for me. Now I went on a retreat with Mercedes Kirkle. If you're interested in her trip, I know she does still go back to France to do this retreat. She channels Mary Magdalene, so I'd gone on a retreat with her to the south of France, which was beautiful, by the way. And it was very intense for me because I know I've been there before. I was running around like a little kid the whole time. And even though I get nauseous in most old buildings because I pick up all the energies, it makes me sick. There was one church I went into, it was amazing because I felt like a little kid, like I was just running around. And I stopped to look at the ceiling at one point and then looked over at a wall and realized I had been here before. I was a little child. I literally started tearing up because I was a child, and that was my corner of the church. So I went into that corner to just feel the energies there. because we were told there was a vortex in that church. There was an energy line there that went up to the pulpit, or the what am I thinking of? But anyway, the energy line was there, so we were told to go up to the front there, you know, if we wanted to feel that energy. But this wasn't there. This was the side of the church, and so I went to stand in that position to feel the energies coming in, and I wanted to take a picture of my feet right there, but my volume was still on when I hit the picture button, so it made a loud noise. So I took 3 pictures by accident. So of course I had to look at the pictures to see what they were, and the first 2 were just blurs, but the third picture took a picture of the floor, and I noticed that there was one block that was a different color than the other bricks, and it was an all-stone church inside and out. It was a very simple chapel. So because I had taken this picture, and the one block that was different color or tone, it ran under the foot, and they weren't really pews, they were more just like very simple benches, you know, very small ones, like a little kid's bench type of thing. I got down on my hands and knees to see what it was on the other side of the foot that was right next to the wall, which, you know, was maybe 6 inches, and there's no way I could have seen under there without getting down on my hands and knees, because it was like a little kid's bench. So I get down on my hands and knees to look, and the imprint on the stone there was literally a little girl, like on her knees. But it also, when I took the picture of it and later was working on it to color it in so people could see more clearly what I was seeing, even though it's very obvious, I was also getting an imprinting of Jesus and Mary Magdalene side by side. But there's also a little girl. So I was getting the little girl in the corner, and then I saw this little girl on the stone, which of course I took lots of pictures of. And then right there was the only place there was a note stuck in the wall right there as well. So it was a very cool experience. I don't want to go into it anymore, but the whole trip was amazing. If you're interested, Mercedes Kirkle. So anyway, one of the places we visited was the Cathars Castle there. And I was there in 2017, which happened to be the year that the Catholics apologized to the Cathars because they had basically burned them to death in the castle that we visited. So I was guided to bring up this information. It was like a plug to the Cathars and what their beliefs were, and there's a lot of connection here between the Cathars and Mary Magdalene. The Cathars were, you know, the meaning of it was the pure ones. Mostly they were in North Italy and the south of France in the 12th to the 14th century. They're also called Albigensians. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Albigensians. But they come from the city of Albi, A-L-B-I. Okay, so they may have origins in the Byzantine Empire and the Paulician movement in Armenia. And that's interesting because Armenia has come up before for me as well, with, I think it's Jal or Jale is one of the beaches there. And then East Byzantine, they believe that there were 2 gods, one good, one evil. Like, and also it wasn't exactly equal between men and women, but much more so. Like, women were definitely given power in their beliefs. They didn't treat them as second-class citizens. They denied Jesus' resurrection because they believed in reincarnation, and that it would have been not a resurrection but a reincarnation. And they believed the cross was an instrument of torture and evil, and they didn't like that was the symbol of Christianity. The New Testament, they believe that the one good God was the New Testament creator of spiritual realms, and the evil was the Old Testament, the creator of the physical world, or Satan. That spirits were sexless angels trapped in the material realm, reincarnated until salvation. And then the Catholic war with them. So this was very interesting, as we have the Page of Cups today. Pope Innocent III, and that's the 3 again, like the 3 brothers. Pope Innocent III would attempt to end the Cathars, trying to get the locals in France to act against them. But they really didn't want to. The French leaders at that time weren't really interested in doing that. But then in 1208, Pierre de Castelnau, the Pope's legal representative, was murdered returning back to Rome after excommunicating Count Raymond VI of Toulouse, who he had said was too lenient with the Cathars. So he wasn't even the Cathar, but they excommunicated him because he was saying they weren't being tough enough on them. So then the crusade all but ended Catharism. All right, so that was the first massacre here was the town of Béziers, or Béziers, I can't read my writing, was besieged July 22nd, 1209. The doors of the church of the St. Mary Magdalene were broken down, and refugees were dragged out and slaughtered. There was over 7,000 men and women and children killed. The prisoners were blinded, dragged behind horses, and used for target practice. What remained of the city was razed by fire, and then the Treaty of Paris was 1229, where France dispossessed the House of Toulouse. The King of France dispossessed the House of Toulouse, but the Catholics continued to pursue the Cathars, all right? So we're dealing with more of the Italian powers. And then women were burned at the stake if they still believed, or identified with the Cathars. Friday the 13th, May of 1239, and this is from enm.wikipedia.org, 183 men and women convinced of Catharism were burned at the stake, orders of Robert Le Bougre. Mount Guimer, or Guimet, already denounced as place of heresy by the bishop in a letter of Liège to Pope Lucius II, and this was in 1144. So after the orders about the being burned at the stake, it was just noting that Mount Guimet or Guimer already denounced as a place of heresy in the year 1144. But 1144 stood out to me because that's the 11 and the 44, but it's also my soul number, my life lesson number. So May of 1243 to March of 1244, the Cathar fortress of where did I write that again? Montségur, which is the place I visited, was besieged by the troops and the Archbishop of Narbonne, March 16th or 10th in 1244. It was a large symbolic massacre taking place where over 200 Cathar, considered perfects, were burnt in an enormous pyre at the Prat del Cremat, so basically cremated, the field of the burned, near the foot of the castle. Popular theory was that a small group escaped from this burning. Le Trésor Cathar, they believed that Gnostic tests and also wealth, which may have included the Holy Grail, were included with what they escaped with. And I got a major connection when I was writing this. So the castle of Montségur was razed in 1244. There's definitely music in the history, so a lot was burned from the Cathars, so there's not a whole lot out there about the Cathars, I suppose, but their music was listed as well as a sculpture of the Cathars en route du Mer in Narbonne. And of course they're linked to the Knights Templar, the monks from 1095 to 1099. That's when they started. So it was very interesting information. So the Cathars came up for me because of the Catholic issues. Because of course we're dealing with Constantine the Great and the Romans. And I dealt with a lot with Italy in my life since I was married to an Italian. And so then the Cathars, because of my visit to France and my father being born in France, there's, these old wounds that are coming up for me specifically because I know I spent time in France before. And if you haven't been, please go and do this kind of thing. It was amazing. We went into the Mary Magdalene cave and did a meditation. I literally experienced the being burned at the stake. Nobody else felt it. And I literally we had these women outside waiting for us to come out, and they were doing some kind of birthing ritual, from what I was told by the group, where they just screamed, and it scared the crap out of me. But it literally, for me, because I was going into meditation because we were waiting for her to do her Mary Magdalene meditation, I literally went back to the burning of the stake, and I was there, and I had a moment of just pure fear of someone pushing me off the cliff there, because it's very high up. So I definitely am very connected with that Mary Magdalene energy between the chapel of Mary Magdalene there and then the cave as well. And the burning at the stake comes up here again with the Cathars, so there may be some connection there for me. So let me know if there's some connection for you as well. So we go back to the code line again, and again, just a little bit about the Cathars from sacredmysterytours.com. 13th century south of France. It was very modern at that time. You know, Jews held power and women equality in the south of France, as well as the Knights Templar. Finally disbanded. The last Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, was burned in Paris on March 18th in the year 1314. So here we have the 314 again. And March 18th is basically my 6-month twin, and I know at least 3 people in my life significantly that are born on March 18th because it's my 6-month twin. And the year is 1314, which is, again, we came into this series of events because of the year 314, and now we're in 1314, the pi again. And that little blurb there was by Henry Lincoln. So back to the code line, the foe and taking the high road, for the 3 to end pain of the human embodiment, persevering the happy ending, and parenting. So the Father Emperor raising 3 to end pain of humanity. And like I said, it also paralleled to my father having 3 sons. The Father Emperor toggling up the Empress to end pain of the human. So the pi represents, like I said, balancing the masculine and feminine within. So the Emperor has to balance his inner Empress in order to end the pain of the human. You need to bring more of the feminine in. Father Time was coming up, and Mother Pain. The essence in vain. Father, and here I was getting Father as the Pope, and Spirit's connecting with me, the foe who took the high road. So here's the foe, right? Because the enemy was the Pope in regards to the Cathars, but the Pope ends up taking the high road as far as the Italians, and becoming more feminine. It was so cool that the Pope that came into play here was Pope Innocent, 111. Right after I talked about the Page of Cups being the innocence of heart. So the Father or the Pope here, the foe who took the high road, regarding the Italian population, right, of that time versus the French population, and then the Emperor or the 4 for pi, also temper tantrums coming up here. And evening that energy out with the feminine energy. Instead of being the Roman Empire, being the Holy Roman Empire. So that's what the Pope brought to Italy, brought that more feminine energy into to end human suffering, pain and suffering. So then the third theme here, and by the way, that last section, the time here was 10:33, which again is the Christ vibration. So then I was led to pi again, because pi is Albert Einstein's birthday and my daughter. And I was getting Uncle Albert all the time, and I kept thinking it was someone in the English lineage. Why was I getting Uncle Albert? And then when I saw this, I realized it's Einstein, Uncle Albert. My father worked for Einstein Medical Center for 25 years. So Albert was coming up here, and Uncle Albert. And Einstein also parallels to me personally in the breakdown of the word. I'm not going to go into that. But of course, he was a German physicist and the theory of relativity. He was born 3/14, 1879 to April 18th, 1955. 79 being the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and 55 being the Ace of Swords, Excalibur, the truth, where he died in Princeton, New Jersey, which is where my uncle worked. But he's not Uncle Albert, he's Uncle David. He died of a AAA, which is an abdominal aortic aneurysm. His wife was Elsa, and he had 3 kids. The oldest was a daughter, and then the second was Hans Albert Einstein, and the masculine comes up as Han Solo all the time, which is Han S. So his son was Hans Albert Einstein. So more about Albert Einstein, besides the 3 kids, and this is biography.com. Of course, he's the E equals MC squared. And MC is Mary Magdalene and Christ, right? And the E of the Elohim, the Divine Feminine. And then the 1921 Nobel Prize in Physics. And 19 of the Sun, today's 19, and 21 of the world. And culminations, the end of the cycle. It said in biography.com that his father's gift of a compass led him to a lifetime of fascination regarding magnetic fields. His oldest daughter was Lizero, and then it was Hans, was the second child, and then his third child was Edward, which he referred to as Tet, T-E-T-E, which cracks me up because when when you're a little kid and you want your father to teach you their language, because my father left France when he was 10, so he only had young French language, but he had his accent his whole life. When I asked him to teach me French, of course you want to learn words so you can say curse words when you're young. So I always remember Tet, because Tet is head, because there's no direct translation in English. So when I wanted to say you're full of shit to somebody, I would say Tet the caca, because you'd say caca as shit. So anyway, so it's funny that the third child was referred to as Tet. And that was Edward. And Edward has come up for me a lot too. So Albert and Edward now refer back to Albert Einstein. So, and again, with the 3 kids. So Constantin the Great with the 3 kids. Then, the Pope with 3, he was the 3rd Pope. And then Einstein with the 3 kids, but also my father had three sons. So getting right into the read now, after it's 37 right on the dot, which is unconditional love. The Page of Cups, the King of Cups and the Page of Cups, the father and child. Here's the Page of Cups as the underlying energy. Below that we have Reason reverse, which is the Emperor. The 4 of Pentacles, which in this deck, the SIRIAN Starseed deck, is the Bat Cave, or the Divine Masculine's heart. Then we have the Alchemy card upright and Guidance reversed. And Alchemy's Temperance, guidance is like the Hierophant. So the Page of Cups is coming up in the underlying energy as the Innocent, Pope Innocent III, the child, the new love, the puppy love, the message of love after the Emperor reversed, the Pope and the Emperor energy, and the Pope acting like an emperor, right? Ordering that the Cathars be killed off. Is that a very loving thing to do? I don't think so. So it was different back then, of course. But after the Emperor reversed, without reason, let's go to balance and now be patient with the Hierophant reversed, alternative beliefs. Reborn, new innocence after running away from near-death experience, being burned at the stake, dead tired, clingy and disconnect, not seeing eye to eye or face to face, and now in surrender. A new passion, creativity was offered from the Emperor reversed, men abusing their power and then not taking responsibility for their actions. Math, and then that came up for me big time, because that's a wound for some of us people. Us divine feminines especially, for my relationships, that was a big thing for me, men not taking responsibilities for their action. My son had been dropped on his head and shouldn't have been, and of course they deny it's their fault. My son got his thumb cut open by accident, but of course then the person wants to say that he's fine, there's nothing wrong with him, even though his thumb is filleted and he's gushing blood all over the place. So it's just very interesting how the men in my life have all had that same thing, not taking responsibility for their actions. And that's all any of us really want someone to do. We don't want to blame them. We want them to own up to what happened and help, as opposed to, wanting to get out of it or be sneaky or deny any responsibility for having, caused any problem, right? So that is a wound definitely coming up here. Let's see here. So children, twins, innocence, powerless holding their tongue, right? Kids who have to hold their tongue because they're being taken care of by adults, or victim to verbal abuse at home. with the Queen of Wands and foolish behavior, with the High Priestess, secret or psychic abilities, or the Fool not taking responsibility for having 2 women. The Fool with a lapdog who's innocent, who follows him wherever he goes, even off the cliff. The Queen of Wands places herself above the one who accepts all religious beliefs, or the Fool who follows anyone blindly, those innocent, young, and vulnerable, to those who want to control and have power, etc. And that was at 11:11. So again, this is about the people who are abusing their power and control, taking advantage of those who are most vulnerable, right? So the children, the old, and the people who just don't know any better. The Queen of Wands with the black cat and the long tail, and that could be a very long story or a very long lineage. The black cat, and then yesterday or the day before, a black cat actually came up to my front window, which we had never seen before. My son had noticed him when we were talking in the kitchen, making eggs together. So at 11:11, that cat had come to the front window when we were speaking, and then the Queen of Wands secretly, thinking the High Priestess is an idiot, or the Queen of Wands is pretending to be psychic, but isn't. She gets people to follow her even though she's fake, and so then she considers everyone else beneath her idiots or naive, taking advantage of the vulnerable and young, injured and old, defenseless to energies, attacks, or being ganged up on. The Star is also vulnerable, exposed to everyone, trapped, imprisoned, anxiety, waiting for that star to trip up and fall. And it doesn't have to be a big famous movie star, just anyone who's in the public eye. If they do, it's saying, don't be in fear of everyone else wanting you to fail or fall so that you look more human. If you do fall, it's just in time to break patterns, drop the facade, or drop the act. Some pattern to break. Stars with anxiety issues who don't survive or get caught because they're hiding things. Or dreams come true and then everyone wants to know all about you, digging up dirt to show you're not perfect. Or healers who then hurt someone. Or a vicious cycle of fear which causes more tears, insecurity, mistakes, lack of confidence. And then I was getting confidant, right? So the difference is confidence is open, but confidant is private, secret. So make things easy for you. Living exposed. Allow others to see your trials and tribulations. And tribulations, again, is open. Allow them to see your mistakes. Allow humility to ripple out and naturally follow private tributaries. So here we go into secretiveness again. Tributaries are like leaks. Ripples out that leak to others. And then I was getting from Jesus Christ Superstar, look at all your trials and tribulations, sinking in a gentle pool of wine, ... And then life is fine. The child with a secret screws up. And by the way, that song was at 11:26, Justice and the Page of Wands. Inspired. The child with a secret, when they screw up, or a child of psychic or famous person, then becomes a target. Or just children taken advantage of by anyone who haven't been taught their own boundaries, to open heart, but don't allow everyone to take it. They must earn your heart through love and respect. So then for the masculine, express your love comes up. Beneath that is finances and career, that they're affecting your love life. The children, they must learn to teach others how to treat them, that they must earn your heart through love and respect. The Hierophant reversed, the old man, or feeling like he's past his prime, feeling unworthy, still trying to get girls or be the man, divorce or breaking contract or escaping the box of others' expectations, a big love at work, both of these things out to be seen. The Ten of Cups reversed, unhappy or an ending to a family or emotional cycle, unable to protect self from unwelcomed energies getting to them, like the evil magician who's hangry for revenge, waiting too long for his steak to be served, his stake in a claim, having been burned at the stake before in front of others. He needs to be fed with love and attention, food to feel happy again, right? To fuel the home fires. He needs mothering. The battle of the sexes, love and rejection, in need of harmonization, which literally means starved, right, or hibernation. You need to harmonize the starvation for balance of any kind. A bad mood, like they might just be in a bad mood, but they're usually a good person. So this is at 11:39, Justice and the Knight of Cups, right? When the Knight of Cups is in a bad mood, who's always a loving person, and they're hangry, they become feeling rejected and moody and cranky and refuse to give or receive love. And then vengeance comes up, having taken something deemed yours. But remember that happy is always the best revenge. A little lizard watching. A little lizard is watching you be attacked. You being defenseless and vulnerable. And so what are you teaching them in that situation? As they're watching you at home with your partner or whoever, are you giving in to the other person yelling at you? Or are you fighting with them? Or are you taking a time out when necessary? If you are living a lie in front of your children, you are teaching them by example to do the same, to always hide your true feelings. The family attacking and eating their own. Hurting or killing to win or be right. All ego. And that's not you, you're love. And out of balance, that's all. Where are you off kilter? Instead of revenge, leave and start a new life of happiness. You don't need to sit in their bitterness. Healing comes up, number 66, which is the Queen of Pentacles. And beneath that is relationship change of 56, the Two of Swords, being in your knowing. So being in your knowing first, and then allowing yourself to heal as the Queen of Pentacles energy. The Knight of Swords, the Empress, the Hermit, an ending to pain and suffering of the Page of Pentacles, right? The Page of Pentacles upright is the good student who may meet that other kid who's not like them at all. Like, they're weird. Like, who are they? That orphan child who's without, stealing to survive. The child that knew no other way to survive. And so here we have this one child who's been given everything on a silver platter, meeting someone who's had to steal to survive, just grieving their lack of parents or lack of guidance, lack of safety and security. This child is wanting to be held and loved by a mother and actually know what it is to have unconditional love in their life. The Empress and the Hermit are both upright here in the underlying energy, or it can be a Taurus and a Virgo, but spreading the word of how to end pain and suffering. Innocents in need of help, money, or opportunity, and yet innocents of good fortune are taught to look down on others, on their differences, as them being less worthy or weird, that we're better than them, that this is fear of the unknown, not understanding where their beliefs come from, afraid that everyone unlike them is a thief or will steal from them, lie or cheat, or parents worrying their child would be taken advantage of if they greet all people with an open heart. Even liars, cheaters, and thieves deserve love. Someone may get robbed or scammed, or a teen runs away and parents are worried, why do I deserve this, instead of having faith in the experience that bragging about your wealth, of course, will bring in people who want to take it. Send love to the thief. I'm sorry for your pain. Kermit and Peacock is balanced out. Frog and Miss Piggy. He is the quarterback and she clears the field for him, protecting his innocence, but that's codependency if he can't stand on his own. She assumes he is weak when he only expresses love. 1204 is the Hangman and the Emperor. He tempers her with his patience, for her being, a little crazy sometimes. So 1204 with the Hangman and the Four, which is very much about the Emperor and then Jesus left hung out to dry. So the codependency of the victim and the savior. And then the movie Pretty Woman came up. We glorify her rescue, right? The hooker and the wealthy man. He shows her her worth, and she shows him that life is not worth living without love and kindness. However, a man who marries a hooker for control and sex without love, and she marries him for status and security, this is not love at all. That is pure codependence, a loveless life. She uses sex to get what she wants, and him his money. These relationships happen all the time, not necessarily to this extreme, and these won't last as the energy rises. Grieving your innocence taken, your child's innocence taken, this is the human experience. The challenge is to love each other without innocence, just purity of love, not expecting perfection, just accepting the other in every now moment, letting go of the sadness and anger, knowing it's only love that you seek. The grieving Page of Cups with religious beliefs, secrets, psychic abilities, mistakes, poor performance, and low sugar or bad moods, hangry moments, and healing each other. In the recent past here is the transition portal, heavily guarded by a loving group. If you want to get in, you just have to be love. Praying and meditation helps. Innocence and open hearts are welcome. The Queen of Pentacles reversed, raised up by them to show her her worth, guiding her by example and leading the way, and accepting a message of love, accepting friendships and children's purity of heart. Or the Queen of Pentacles reversed may journey to the Page of Cups, stuck between the King of Wands reversed and the Ten of Pentacles reversed, with the Empress reversed, dysfunction of abundance and abuse of power, or a wealthy mother out of control spending, a powerful father who's angry and tired of lending, and the foundation here of the Three of Swords reversed, healing and forgiving heartbreak and separation. The worst is over without options, news, message, or spreading the word about being stuck without peace, and the inability to implement the new path even though it's been chosen. Or a child speaking on behalf of the grieving. You may have recently had a funeral service or celebration of life, a miscarriage, innocent child, or vulnerable elder, mother, father, grandmother, grandfather perhaps. A message went out in the foundation of a mother and child, or secret innocence, or a Viking princess who tripped up, or the fool who fell from grace, lacking faith, death of a rose. The central energy is the Three of Wands reversed, the past, looking back, going back, living in the past, happy alone, suffering in silence, or arrogant and causing others suffering in silence. Dysfunctional family or financial loss of the Empress reversed, or illness or death, and finances drained, or another lost the home. They were scammed due to naivete, and that was at 1, 2, 3, 4. Shut the door. 1234 is the Hangman and the Eight of Wands. Don't just hang there and not speak up your feelings. Right? That's kind of the energy of that 1, 2, 3, 4. Shut the door on the past. The group holding up the Queen of Pentacles reversed, leading her to the Page of Cups child, or a message of love from a child or friend who knows what it's like to lose a loved one. Looking back or going back to death of innocence and healing heartbreak, times when you thought you'd never survive this, but you did. The challenge being the Ten of Swords reversed, the bliss state after, and wanting to stay there, creating addiction, right? So you have the pain of the betrayal and the hurt that's happened to you, and then it's hard to get over it, because when you go through that bliss state, then you never want to leave it, because the bliss is actually the process of the pain coming out. So you keep going back to the pain to re-experience the bliss state. After fighting over and looking or going back, living or reliving the past over and over, and not letting go, being jealous, rejected, insincere, refusing to give or receive love, right? No one's ever going to hurt me again. In debt, scammed, inequity of relation or distribution, in a split, divide, lies, or the BS of out of control Leo or ego or weakness. The King of Wands reversed is tired and angry at night, hangry, unable to find peace. Patient angel leading the way through family lineage and legacy, wounds and dysfunction. Financial drains or a business that's going under. Defenseless to energies, attacks, and others ganging up on them. The Emperor reversed and the Queen of Pentacles reversed, sleeping, resting, praying, or meditating, or lay to rest, in prison, or laying to rest anxiety issues, or feeling trapped with your hands tied. Or the Emperor reversed is without defense, in holding the Queen of Pentacles reversed captive. Now, crowning is the Six of Pentacles reversed, and the King of Wands reversed, in debt perhaps, or scammed, or dealing with inequity, imbalanced by deliberation and not choosing a path, stuck, stubborn, breakdown, falling on his knees and praying for how to get out of this place, or a mess. No car, no work, or just unable to function. On the warpath, on strike, but 3 strikes and you're out. Clearly, the High Priestess, secret or Pisces or psychic abilities, letting go of emotional attachments, getting real about patience or patient angel or Sagittarius, taking one step at a time in the slow dance. So slowing everything down within the dance and balancing your masculine and feminine and between you. In exile or destitute, out in the cold weather, but with a romantic tie, a romance. At night, having no peace until the magician manifests the devil or Capricorn, Virgo or Gemini, without options, but to be that patient angel or patient in choosing a path, in a split or divide, in lies or BS of this journey, and the Queen of Swords speaking her truth to help others who are feeling left behind. The worst is over with controlling family or business. No more pain from those jealous or rejected, the schmoozers for money. Defenseless in a final judgment, the Queen of Pentacles reversed can be an Aries and or a Virgo Queen of Wands upright, who could be Aquarius, Virgo, Earth sign, any Earth sign, or Aries. The Queen of Wands Emperor reversed and Virgo Queen of Pentacles reversed, who's missing their flame, a prison of meditation in the 5D. Soon for the masculine is the Nine of Cups upright, getting their wish, happy with self. Ending of unhappiness of family or rushing into unhappy family from work every day, and an ending to that. A final judgment in or rejection letter, an announcement call to action to get up or get out. Work and or home, or a combination of both, dumped with or by the Queen of Wands, who's overwhelmed at 104, the Magician and the Emperor, and that can also be 10-4. The Emperor and the Magician. We turn the page and then it's 1-5, which is the Magician and the Hierophant. Going from the Emperor, just like we talked about in France and Rome, going from the Roman Emperor to the Pope, adding some feminine energy there. We get to the Hierophant. At the Four of Cups reversed is like starting over in love, right? After being bored or grounding and integrating, being apathetic. The Queen of Wands is starting over after dumped, without options. The inequity of the home. Not seeing eye to eye with Taurus reversed or Hierophant reversed. Perhaps different beliefs or an unloving person. The Divine Masculine is seeing himself as the Four of Cups reversed. No more an island unto himself, starting over in need of help from kids, twin, or a friend from childhood. The Hermit or Virgo sheds light on dependence or losing money, power, and independence, or a child who's losing money trying to be independent. Reaping rewards with alternative lover, or Taurus reversed or divorced lover, or the Hermit is dependent on reaping rewards in divorce with affection or from Taurus reversed lover, or needing help with the kids from them who have been spending all his money, or twins coming together and need to change their spending habits as they come together. The Divine Masculine is starting over in love. We have new love that comes up in the Romance Angels. That came up by itself. And then a second group came up, unrequited love, you deserve love, engagement, which means that the relationship is just elevating to a higher level, and then romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. Around the Divine Masculine, or how he's seen, is the Six of Wands, with good news, success, attention, leading the way, after frustrated and not expressing feelings, or not expressing energy exchange in the 5D. The King of Cups reversed in a twist of fate, and a slowdown with the King of Swords reversed. So these are two kings who may not be getting along here. The King of Cups reversed may be a frustrated child. He could have alcohol issues as well. And the King of Swords reversed, resting and meditating. No love lost between them. Or unable to connect with a dead relative and frustrated. Going on a journey to start over in love, the masculine needs to clear blocks about being weak and needing to find courage. Or an out-of-control fire sign or ego. or just weakness after the Knight of Swords reversed, holding their tongue, or the Knight of Swords is reversed, holding their tongue, hanging out to see a new perspective of another world, or in order to get closure or end a cycle, or before traveling, just settling themselves down and relaxing. Worried, or the masculines may be worried a fire sign will get in his way of traveling or hanging out with the divine feminine. Parenting comes up, happy ending and perseverance. The Page of Cups, unable to find the words or express feelings about the Page of Pentacles reversed, not wanting to hurt each other anymore. Children learning to get along, getting a message from one who passed perhaps, or out of the mouths of babes. Not expressing feelings or that energy exchange, delays in communication or travel plans. The Hermit, Queen of Pentacles reversed, or the Hermit, Queen of Wands, or the Hermit is between the Queen of Pentacles reversed and the Queen of Wands, or they're just two grown children with abuse of power involved. The Queen of Wands with judgment, or she's judgmental, and the Queen of Wands and the Emperor reversed without defense. The Queen of Pentacles reversed, prisoner, not allowed to express her feelings, or the Queen of Pentacles reversed is the Queen of Wands with Virgo, Aries, and or Aquarius in their chart. One part Hermit and one part Emperor reversed, power hungry. Holding back, sick, drained, tired, overexposed at work, aligning or getting their ducks in a row, the divine masculine for a new life, or just playing ball and paying down debt. The Page of Wands reversed, with their mask taken off, broken, stuck, or broke after judgment, in uncomfortable emotions, dropping responsibilities, confessing, working for a King of Pentacles, or helping self as the King of Pentacles, or receiving help from someone else to let go, heal, and forgive. And that can definitely be a child helping out their father. At 132, which is the Magician, and the Six of Wands, the journeyman. Going on a journey. 133, the Magician and the Christ vibration. The Seven of Wands, standing up for yourself. The King of Swords is reversed here, with negative self-talk and frustrated in the aftermath of avoidance of the Wounded Warrior reversed, which has to do with surrender, because we know guys don't like to surrender or give up. Justice, divorce, Judge or Libra, grieving loss, regret, with the Queen of Cups on top, who's loving and intuitive. Lacking faith at night, beginning again each time he falters or falls. The Page of Cups, healing and starting over, beginning again. The Page of Cups, healing and starting over on journey after going through the portal of the past and Akashic records to release the past wounds, to feel bliss. So the masculine having gone through some dark night issues now, clearing wounds, shadow work, and Akashic records to release the past wounds and feel the bliss, getting his wish, happiness with self. Weak, though, and needing courage, and in debt or imbalanced, and need to express feelings and share energy, the arrows of love. To drop his mask and negative self-talk in the aftermath of sudden events, epiphanies. Total surrender, but don't give your heart away. Surrender, but don't give your heart away. Right, so that's coming up. The Emperor reversed and the Page of Pentacles reversed, coming out of Batcave in ego death. Patient in a divorce, or with Taurus or Hierophant reversed. Starting over, reborn, new, innocent, with open heart, and going through the portal of grief, or the 4D rainbow bridge, healing and forgiving the past inequities. And then a bird hit my side window at 141, which is the Magician and the Ace of Cups. New love, self-love, spiritual love. Debt, scam, imbalanced relationship, challenged by the worst over with PTSD, working through the post-war issues, starting over fresh, getting his wish, on a journey leading the way, needing courage to not give too much or receive too much, to find nice balance in a slow dance, without mask, frustrated and negative self-talk, forcing his hand in surrender. Justice of surrendering to grieving, the Queen of Cups her love and nurturing, who's now on top. Okay, so that's the read. I'm gonna pull some oracle cards for you guys too. I think that's important today. I think I want to go back to my old decks today for some reason. So we're going to do the Ascension deck, the Past Life deck, and we'll do the Journey of Love as well. Okay, so first the Ascension deck to see if anyone wants to come through. But part of my guidance when I went to meditate, besides the stories of the father and the three sons, my three sons is now coming up too. I was getting, when I get to my oracle cards, to ask Mary Magdalene. So that's what we're going to do. I'm getting connection. All right, so Mary Magdalene, for everybody watching, the best and highest good of all those concerned, what do we need to know? What do we need to learn? Let's clear all negativity across all dimensions of time, space, matter, and realities for the highest good of all those concerned, and fill the empty space with only beautiful divine love and beautiful diamond crystalline light. And so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So Mary Magdalene, what is our advice? All right, that came right up. All right, we have Archangel Metatron's cloak, which is 51, which is the King of Swords. It's an honor to receive this card, for the cloak allows Metatron's energy to be held in your aura. It ensures that your 12 chakras are open and protects you from lower energies. This means that you can link to the 7th dimension of Hollow Earth and access wisdom from the 4 ascension planets. Walk tall and stand in your power. Wearing this cloak will help you guide others in their ascension path. You're called on to do this. Empower people to see who they are and what they can do. The affirmation is, I stand in my power and lead others forward. So this is very much, this is Archangel Metatron's cloak. And I always get that Metatron's guiding the masculines. And we have 51 to confirm this as well. That's the King of Swords, very representative of the masculines. And then this card came out as well, Fire Dragons. And actually dragons came up yesterday, right? So Fire Dragons is 7. 7's the Chariot. And the Colosseum came up too. So dragons are 4th dimensional elementals. They can access and transmute heavy vibrations that angels cannot reach. Archangel Gabriel oversees Thor and his fire dragons. You're asked, and Gabriel came up yesterday as well. You're asked to send out fire dragons, supervised by Gabriel, to consume negative energy or negativity in places and auras, like the masculines coming up with negativity, negative self-talk, to consume negative or negativity in places and auras, and then ask Gabriel's angels to replace that lower energy with shimmering diamond of pure light. Call on Fire Dragon to transmute any stuck energy in your own aura and to light you up at a higher frequency so that you can radiate enthusiasm and joy. The affirmation is, I invoke Fire Dragons to clear my path to ascension. Okay, so here we have this just energy of transmutation, and then making sure to fill the space with good energy after you're done clearing. So you have Metatron of Fire Dragons, and then Lord Kamika also comes up on the bottom, the underlying energy, with 42, which is the 2 of Cups. So we have the Chariot, the 2 of Cups, and the King of Swords. Really nice. Kamika came from another universe to set the conditions for the golden age of Atlantis with Archangel Metatron. So again, this is connecting with Metatron. He has returned to be Koan of the 8th ray. 8 is the dance. A soul ray of purification, and purity was definitely coming up as the Page of Cups today. Enlightenment and communication. When you receive this card, you're on a quest for enlightenment. Your guidance is to breathe Kumika's blue topaz light into your aura, expand your attitude to one of unconditional love, acceptance of others, and personal responsibility. And that came up in the read. Kumika will open new doors for you and guide your footsteps toward enlightenment and ascension. The affirmation is, I call on Lord Kumika to enlighten and support me. Okay, so now we're going to go to the past life deck. Mary Magdalene, please. What is the energy from the past life deck? We're dealing a lot. This deck has a lot of Greek and Roman energy in it. And since we were delving into that today, Mary Magdalene, what is the energy that we need to know from this deck? What are the messages that you want to bring through to me? Take a deep breath, everybody. All right. So what is our message, Mary Magdalene? Right, that came right up. Let's see here. Up. They want me to count some cards, so bear with me just for a second until it stops. It's a lot of cards. All right. Okay. And the first one in this big deck you see is sticking out as Father. And that came up in the read as well. All right. So the bottom of the deck is transportation. So there's crossing that 40 bridge, which just came up. And I also always get Thomas the Tank Engine there. Also, possibly a safe or a bomb going off. Someone needs to let off steam. All right, so that impatience was coming up today as well, of the King of Wands and the Emperor, both reversed, you know, who can lose their temper, needing to let off steam, working out, right? I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. You need to move, right, your body to release that steam. All right, so that's the underlying energy. And the first card out was Persecution and Inquisition. You can see it up right here, right? The hanging of women or the witches. The Cathars, perhaps, since they came up today, and Mary Magdalene's coming up here. Persecution and Inquisition. It's like it's coming up reversed, because it's saying it will now be over, right? Women will no longer be hung for their beliefs. And then these two came up together, which is Egypt and the pyramids and Native Americans. And you see they're both pyramid type things, just in a different perspective. And this is their portal, whereas the portal here you can't see because it's in the etheric realms. This is the portal. It's just 3D. Okay, so it's showing it's all in the perspective, right? This is desert and this is the woods. So what else do we need to know here, Mary Magdalene? I'm getting skywriting. And she's just being funny too. There's like in the clouds here, it's like the letter M right here for Mary Magdalene. That she lights up the sky. Overseeing the pyramids. The his and her pyramids. And then this is the honeymoon escape, the getaway. So Egypt and Native American, very much, you know, it's Atlantis, the times that have come before us when we made use of natural things. Not being so rigid. Yeah, not pulling your hair out, not splitting hairs. No alfalfa, just alfalfa sprouts. Right, you don't need to put grease in your hair to be your best. That was a message that wanted to come up earlier as well. Don't feel gypped because you don't have something that someone else has, or regarding hair. Don't feel gypped because you have curly hair and someone else has straight hair, or you don't have enough hair, whatever your complaint is. It's like Egypt is coming up as the feminine E, gypped. So especially to the feminines. Naivete is coming up with native. Right, the native is not the same as naivete, but it may have the same energies there with the letters. Jesus at IV Elohim, and that's coming up with the Native American. Jesus at IV Elohim. Jesus crossing that bridge when he gets to it, toggling up, IV Elohim, right? Because when you toggle up, you're going to that feminine, higher self, Elohim energy. Crossing that bridge, when you come to it, toggle up to receive IV feminine energy, basically. That's the Native American. The Native American men not afraid to be more feminine. And the feminine Native Americans not afraid to be more masculine. It's just natural. And same with the Egyptians and the Atlanteans. and this is why it's coming up too, because the Cathars. The Cathars treated their women not quite as equals, but really as equals as compared to anyone else at the time. Okay? So it's saying the old places where they treated women equally, right? Because women could be in power. You know, you have Cleopatra, and then the Indians, who also are, you know, that they can both be balanced in a masculine and feminine. Oh, and my 3 sons. There's 3 here. They wanted me to bring that up as well. To treat your sons equally, right? They're each different. Like, each energy is very different, and yet the same, because they're all your sons, just like the human race. And Spirit's connecting with me, of course, because that's a very important message. That we're all different, just like your children, but we're all the same. We're all your children. Okay? Very profound message there. And Spirit's still connecting with me on that one. So cross the bridge when you get to it. One step at a time. Choo choo. Choose my son's nickname. I think I can. So it's saying stay positive. You can do it. I got to count these cards. So just give me 1 second. The ones that start with Father. And by the way, the bottom of these is food and hunger. All right? Don't drink out of rusty cups. And you don't need bread for your higher energy body, your light body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. It's the 23 because it's the King of Wands, because he's hangry. Make sure to feed your men because they get angry when their blood sugar drops. But rusty cups and bread is not what you should feed them. Okay? So it's 23, which is the King of Wands. And then we have 3 more here, which is the 26, which is the Page of Wands. Page of Wands in this deck is the masked boy who was reversed, because he's taking off the mask, but when you first take your mask off, you're vulnerable, like the Page of Cups, right? So it's like saying once they take their mask off, they're going to feel frustrated and uninspired because they're scared, because now they're coming into the Page of Cups energy as opposed to the Page of Wands. Being their true self and opening their heart's not easy for them. So that's coming up here too. You see the purity of this, right? And this is the impure state, right? As you grow up, we don't stay this way. You can stay pure of heart, but we're humans, so we have to experience the life here. That's the point of expansion. Expanding from a teepee to a pyramid, you know, this is huge. And expanding to treating women equally. In order to get to that state, we have to go through losing our innocence to come back to innocence again, right? Because you don't know what it is until you've had it or not had it, right? The opposing forces. So it's like you have to go through the difficult part in order to appreciate the good part. So, and specifically in the message today, it's about innocence. You can't appreciate your innocence until you lose it. Use it or lose it, they said. 23 and 3. So 3 is the Empress, 23 is the King of Wands. So that might be a message about the King of Wands and the Empress. And the King of Wands is hungry, so make sure you feed him before you talk. And share your energy, right? Sit spine to spine. And then 26, drop your mask and take it one step at a time. I think I can. Keep going. Cross the bridge, and cross each bridge as you get to it. There's no hurry. All right, now we have the Journey of Love. Thank you, Mary Magdalene. Take a deep breath. What is the last message for everyone today? On the Journey of Love. Mary Magdalene. What is this read about? What is the main message we need to take away from this today? Besides rise and be love. Mary Magdalene. have two cards that wanted to come out here. The bottom of the deck is the blood dance. So here's the slow dance that came up, right? Like if your blood's really fast, it's because your blood pressure's high. Slow it down, relax. The slow dance. And the blood dance also, this is the underlying energy, so I'm not going to read this one, which is 42, by the way, so the Two of Cups is coming up again. But this has to do with having faith, because when the blood's in your heart, it's like being connected to the higher realms. It's really easy. But when the blood pumps out to your fingers and toes, you're not connecting to your higher self like you usually do, and you get scared that you'll never be able to connect again. It's about having faith in the cycle of life, that the blood comes out, that yes, it will come back again. Okay, so to have faith. And then the two cards that came out are the Spiral Dance of the Goddess, which is very olive green, so olive oil, and 29, which is the Three of Wands, being present to the gift of the moment, the gift of olive oil, the gift of the green. Oh, and this is showing you when your heart's not innocent anymore, because it's no longer emerald. It's like olive oil color, because it's a little bit tainted, which is okay, because then you'll just have to find that purity of spirit again. Okay, there's all sorts of color greens here from all the experiences, all the layers of your life, of your personality, what makes you so colorful. And yes, some of it's hard to take, because this green has to do with the wars that you've been through. And this is also like the I meant to say why am I blanking out? Well, the umbilical cords, but also the ovaries. And the, I'm sorry, for my concussion, sometimes I can't get simple words, so it's not my ignorance, it's just my brain damage. Okay, so, and I love how the colors really match between these cards, even the differences in the greens. So the Spiral Dance of the Goddess and acceptance. So acceptance of who you are in your imperfection and how glorious it is. It's like a fairy tale. Why can't I think of that? The uterus and the eggs are connected by, and see, this is my brain damage. I can't always get simple words. Okay, so acceptance is the 55, which is the Ace of Swords, which is Excalibur, the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And this is somebody proposing for sure. And there's somebody watching, they're hiding to take pictures or record it. And it's like magic. But you see, it doesn't have to look like a fairy tale to be a fairy tale, because it's just greens and kind of earthy reds. This is very natural colors. There's no pretty colors. There's no pinks or purples or anything else in here. It's just simple earth. And the purity that rises to the top. You see the white at the top? As your purity rises to the surface, it's all good. What else am I getting? I'm also getting the pearl, right? Because remember that the pearl is what's made from the bacteria that gets into the clam or the oyster. The pearl is the protection that is created, right? To protect you from the bacteria from getting in. It's the love. It's like the fat on the human body, protecting your body from bad things getting into it. Right? So love the fat, chew the fat. But stay away from the processed sugars. Okay? And enjoy your time together naturally. This is so beautiful. All right. Let me read the cards to you. It's in the this black, you wouldn't get this, but this black thing here is reminding me of a ribbon, because I had a little bit of a flaw on my lamp, and I tied a sheer black ribbon around it, which reminds me of this ribbon here. So it was about, the energy here is bringing in, you know, the repairs that have been made over time, which are fine because they can be beautiful too. All of the layers of the dark and the light, but the beauty that is the shadow of you. Right? Without the pain of the birth. Without the glory of the connection of conception and without the pain of then the child coming out, you wouldn't be able to have a child. But then as soon as you have the child, the pain is gone. That bliss state as the child is then released, right? Tears of joy. And then learning how to take it one step at a time with a newborn. It's just paralleling the same thing because you're being reborn. You're learning completely over again. It's like you're being stripped naked back to nothingness and then rebuilding yourself, taking it very slow and one step at a time. And using olive oil. Okay, olive oil and lots of acceptance. Keeping it simple. You don't need to bring so many colors in all at once. Just start with the greens and reddish colors, the brownish reds, to keep it really safe and stable. Using the heart and the root chakras. All right, so 29 first. The spiral dance of the goddess. From a point of light unfolding, we become a soul, then incarnate into a sacred body, and our lives become a work of divine art, a speck of heavenly presence manifesting itself through dimensions of time and space, and into a life on earth made manifest. The extraordinary fact of your existence is a divine happening. As though the light of the moon is dancing not only upon the water, but inside of it, your ancient light is dipping into the mud of the earth. This is how the soul becomes a divine human in the making. As you sense yourself moving and shifting from light to dark and back again, from knowing to unknowing, you are weaving your consciousness, your divinity into sacred expression, manifesting your soul essence into the form of your life, threading the light through the darkness without even realizing you're doing it. You are gently impregnating the matter of your body, of your life, with light. Your body and your life become luminous, radiant, and you assist others even just through your presence. It sounds wonderful, and it is. Yet it's not always an easy path. As the light travails through darkness, pain and suffering can arise in waves. Best to be present to it and trust that it is not a permanent condition, and wait for the spiral to twist from dark to light again, always moving closer and closer to the purity of the center and expanding outward eternally, as though you were being inhaled by the divine, filling cosmic lungs as they reach far and wide, taking in all of life. The message of this oracle to you is that you're growing. You're bringing more of your light into form. You may be meeting obstacles in yourself and in the world, but this is because you're bringing through the light. If there were nothing happening, there would be no obstacle. Bless them as signs that you are proceeding and empower them no more. You shall be, all else is just divine timing. The inner movement, an expressive flow, an outward breath of dance and light, becoming one, becoming free. So just let go, because it all has to come back to you. It's just the nature of how the world works. Acceptance. 55. The truth. Accepting the truth of what is. You have offered yourself, asked to be of service to the greater good, created something that you want to contribute towards healing our world, and your offer has been gratefully accepted by the divine. Know this and be at peace. This oracle brings you a message. You are completely received and accepted by the divine, just as you are. There is nothing to change, just you to be. You have made an offering of a prayer, a sacrifice of an attachment, and giving of a desire to be of service, to make a contribution to the world, and your offers joyfully being transformed into the seeds of how this can best be. Your next step is about to begin. And the poem reads, shall we find some sunshine? And today's Sunday, and the 19th, which is the sun. Shall we find some sunshine amongst the cloudy days, a gentle touch that softly warms and leads us on our way, past stately oaks and candles glow, and places we've never been, a friend to share the memories before it's home again. Okay, guys, I think that's enough message for one day. So make sure you drink your water and get your rest, your joy, and your nature, and keep it simple. And there's nothing you can do wrong. Just you to be, just as you are, is perfect. And you don't need to be perfect either. Just know that everything is always good in every moment, and always rise and be love. Be good to yourself, guys.